Hi there, Wolt Chums. Catherine here with a little announcement. We wanted to let you know that after we finished recording this episode, we realized there was so much amazing and inspirational content that it was worth splitting into 2 episodes. So right now you're going to hear part 1 of this fantastic fitness episode, and then next week you will hear the second half. So please enjoy the first installment of 2 of the convenience of fitness. Please enjoy. Thank you. Enjoy. And welcome to another tree-hugging episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Catherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I have lost over 120 pounds and kept it off for, oh my gosh, I think I'm almost at my 7-year anniversary of being a fitto.
Oh, yeah.
I am a Tiny Habit certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach, and with me today is my husband of 25 years and a day. No, 26 years and a day.
She doesn't even know how long we've been married.
A long time. It feels like only yesterday. Who are you?
I'm Donald Weigel, and I have lost about 100 pounds. I've kept it off for over 6 years now, and I'm here to talk about it. And yeah, I was wondering, you know, if we didn't announce it, if the listeners could like sense a change in like between last episode and this episode. In our love, because
smugness.
we had a wedding anniversary in between recording the last one and this one, and
definitely more than 25 years.
So before we were only married for 25 years. Now we're married for 26 years
and a day.
And now it feels like it's really gonna like stick.
Yeah. Well, it
feels like it'll last.
We definitely have had benchmarks over the years of like, well, it's a real marriage if we can get past 7, because at 7 years you become itchy for some reason. If this celebrity couple only lasted 10 years,
right?
Like, can we get past that? So I feel like there are all these marriage hurdles, I would say,
right? That
we're just like, it's like a Tough Mudder. We're just like going through it, trying to get through, pace up, and get. You get an award for 30 years, right? Like, we're not at 30, but
I think you get invited to the White House, and there's a ceremony, and a whole thing.
Yeah, I don't want. I love you. You know this, right? Like,
oh boy, I can't wait to hear what's coming.
We've
next.
talked about it before. We're not ever gonna renew our vows.
Oh,
no. That was a one and done.
No.
Like,
but we did talk about it. Like, we were like first getting married. We're like, like maybe we
love each other more.
Maybe
than
we'll renew our vows after 10 years. And then 10 years came, and we were like, oh no, that is a lot of work to
my gosh.
try and make people come celebrate us after 10 years.
We're introverts, generally speaking.
Yeah.
And so if there are people who are extroverted, who like to have parties and stuff, go make it happen. But I'm just letting all of you know, we're not inviting you to our renewal vow thing, because
maybe our marriage renewal should be a Tough Mudder, and then nobody would come.
That's actually good.
Yeah.
But okay. So 2 things. I know, like I said, it was a tree hugging episode.
Oh yeah, I was confused by that.
Can we observe just like 3 seconds of silence, just so that our listeners can hear nothing?
Oh, I know why. Okay, now I get it.
So just be quiet for just a second.
Okay.
Everybody, what can you hear? You can hear nothing. You know why? Because yesterday the arborists came.
Yeah, we started to record this yesterday in the morning, like early, like 7 a.m., and suddenly chainsaws fired up, literal chainsaws fired up, and there were people trimming trees outside our building for about 5 hours.
Well, and we were out on a walk. And it was very early. And then we saw the arborist truck next to our building. And we're like, oh my God, we better record right now, because if the chainsaws are going to happen. And then by the time we got set up, there were chainsaws. So we cannot record. But we pivoted, didn't we, Donald?
Yeah. So we are mourning for the trees that were butchered They were
trees
just
are still standing.
They were just trimmed. I think it's fine.
Yeah, and it was on our very anniversary, which I was annoyed about.
I know nothing about trimming trees, but I think that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I guess so. But anyway, so we didn't record, but we pivoted, and we're all about pivoting. And I'm going to pivot now to what we did last night on our anniversary evening.
Oh, I didn't know this was coming either.
We did the thing. We walked, didn't we?
Yes.
We went to dinner.
Yes.
And we walked to it with our feet.
Yeah.
Which is a very fit thing to do.
Yeah. What do you think? It was about like 5-6 miles away one way?
A solid 15-minute walk.
Yeah.
To
probably like 3/4
a great
of a
restaurant
ish.
And then on the way back, did we stop somewhere, Donald? On the way back?
Yes.
Where did we stop?
7-Eleven.
And what is 7-Eleven?
Oh, it's a convenience store. I see what you're doing.
Store.
Yeah.
We conveniently decided to stop and get a little treat. In the past, we would have gotten a pint of Ben & Jerry's, both.
Yeah.
But last night, each of us got an individual serving of something.
Yeah.
Which I think
my treat was 260 calories.
I think mine was about that.
Yeah.
Look at us saving calories, going for walks, making it convenient to be healthy and fit. And we are going to continue our conversation about convenience.
Yeah, we started sort of technically 2 episodes ago. We did an episode in the very early days of this show called The Convenience of Convenience. And essentially what that was about at its core was making the things that you want to do easier to do and making the things that you don't want to do harder to do. And it is a method of sort of troubleshooting habit change. When there are habits that you want to put in place, you look at the habit and you try to make it easier for yourself to do.
Well, and I think a lot of times, too, people are just like, well, I don't have the time. Well, I don't have the thing. Well, the thing's out of the way. There are lots of ways to make excuses about why we're not getting things done. But then we sort of like, what do you do when you give up? Do you put your hands up or down? Or
yeah, you throw your hands
up.
You
throw your hands up.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah,
I don't know what humans do.
That does burn a little bit of calories when you throw your hands up.
It does.
So that's something at least.
But a lot of times we stop with I just can't get myself to do it. This is too hard. And unless we actually take the time to investigate our issue, we'll just keep having the same problems over and over again. And I would say that is very inconvenient.
Yeah, very inconvenient. I was just thinking, though, I also raise my hands when I'm trying to raise the roof.
That also burns calories. And
yeah.
you're such a roof raiser.
I know. I like to party like I'm in a space with no roof. is how I party best and party hardest and burn the most calories. But yeah, so we ask you to ask yourself, just like we did last week, we did sort of a deep dive about troubleshooting and making your eating habits easier, the ones that you want to do. We ask you to look around your home and your life in general and ask yourself, would somebody look around and say, this is the home or the life or the setup of a person who gets a lot of movement, who gets a lot of activity, who is a fit person?
Right. So for us, and I'm going to look around our very room right now, Donald. This is a big surprise. We're in our room right now.
We are in our room. Yes.
We are where we are. And I'm just going to do a little survey of the convenience store of our living room right now.
Yeah.
We've got rebounders. Easily accessible. It's not like it doesn't look great, but they're accessible. We've got rebounders handy. We've got a walking pad that we just bought.
Yeah, the walking pad is a new addition, and so far I really like it. It's a different sort of workout than the rebounder, and it also doesn't like shake our neighbors' windows downstairs. So
yeah. So anyway, so we've got rebounders. We've got a step pad thing. We also I conveniently am wearing fitness clothing right now. Donald, are you wearing fitness clothing?
I am also wearing fitness clothing right now.
You are wearing fitness clothing. We are wearing our Fitbits right now.
Yeah.
That is also an accessory to convenience. Also wearing shoes that are convenient. For walking, we've got our running shoes on, our walking shoes on. So we are set up. Oh, also I have weights set up.
Oh yeah, there's weights like
I've got
right
my
behind you that
yoga
are easy
mat.
to get to. Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that we look like a 24-hour fitness. We've got a jaunty, like cozy living room situation, but we also have our health goals easy to achieve by having our space set up for success.
There's also lots of Funko Pops around, which definitely is the hallmark of a fit exercise person.
Yeah, no, I think it's Funko. It's not Fitco, it's Funko.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But we have a lot of convenient ways to keep exercise and fitness in our lives. And so today we are going to break apart how to look at your environment and ways you can make it more convenient or less convenient to make yourself have fit-venience.
That's what Fit-venience, yeah. Yes. We're going to start a fit-venience store.
I was thinking Fitosity. Like, we've got to have some way to say it that is weird that will annoy people. So that when you're annoyed, you remember things more, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I learned.
That's what I've learned also, yeah. That's why I remember so much about our marriage. No. I wasn't sure I was going to go through with making that joke, and then I did it.
That's fine.
Sorry. All right. So we are going to look at the Fitvenience store through the lens of BJ Fogg's ability chain. And so Mr. Dr. Professor BJ Fogg
of Stanford University
has something he calls the ability chain. And essentially it is a way to troubleshoot your habits and what is stopping you from engaging in a habit. The chain has 5 links, and the 5 links are time, money, physical effort, mental effort, and routine. And so when something is stopping you from engaging in a behavior, it is usually one, sometimes more than one of these particular links in the chain that are keeping you from being able to engage in a behavior. So if you look at each link individually and ask yourself, okay, so what is actually stopping me from getting this done? And then you make that link in the chain easier, therefore making it stronger. It makes it easier for you to do the habits that you want to do.
Well, exactly. And we're only as strong as our weakest link, right? You can have all of the mental fortitude. You can have all of the willpower to do things. But if you don't have the time to do it, or you think you don't have the time, then you're not going to do it. So actually examining each of these links and figuring out which one or onesies are the ones that are, I'm just going to say ones.
Very well said. Onesies.
The onesies.
Yeah, the onesies.
If you can actually examine it and make it easier for yourself, then Bob is your uncle and you're able to do it. Isn't that right? Better than just going, I can't figure it out. I know what to do, but I just can't do it.
And also, if you go to our website right now, you can buy the new We Only Look Thin fitness onesies.
I will never. Okay, I'm just letting you know Look, this is our podcast, and this is what you get. It's like getting a newspaper. You got to buy the whole newspaper to get the articles that you want. Being a woman and having a onesie that you, like, if you're going to the powder room, let's call it.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You don't want to have to take off the entire onesie to powder your nose. I'm just saying that, and guys don't get it. So no onesies. I promise you.
I was thinking for babies, like if you want to get your babies a head start on fitness.
Baby fit.
Also probably not the best healthy idea for to have.
Anyway, no onesies. I'm kiboshing it, Dawn.
Yeah, so okay. Catherine puts the kibosh on. So we're not going to give you every example that you could possibly have, but basically this is sort of a framework. We're going to give you some examples from our own life and some ideas on how you can use the ability chain to remove the barriers to the habits that you want to do.
Right. So I'm going to launch us off.
You launch us
launch
off.
us in on off.
Yeah.
On number onesie of this. Sorry. Okay. So the first link in the chain is time. What did I say in another episode? Man has been fascinated by time
for generations. Yes, that was just a couple episodes ago.
It's just me filling time.
Yeah.
So time means a couple of different things. One, the actual duration of your fitness routine. And it also is the time of day, maybe fitting it into your routine, which we'll talk about later. But a lot of times we think and we hear, if you don't get in 30 minutes, you're a garbage person. You've got to get in like, well, now it's 15 minutes at a time at this heart rate or whatever. And we get really caught up in that idea of perfection. If a workout video is 30 minutes, we feel like if I can't get through the entire 30 minutes, that I might as well not even do anything. And looking at who you are right now and deciding what energy can I give to this right now is really important, because I would feel defeated of like, 30 minutes. That's like, oh, I'm already, out of breath at 10 minutes or whatever. Do 5 minutes. Like, what can you do in the amount of time that you have with the amount of energy that you have? And for me, and this is the practical part of the convenience, I told myself when I started doing workout videos, I will just do the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just start it, see how you feel, see if you vibe with it, as the kids say.
Right. The kids.
If you vibe with it.
We certainly know what all the kids say about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're the hip, cool parents.
Right. We're not. Our daughter does not think so. But being able to give myself that grace of like, oh, I did the first 5 minutes. And then maybe the next day or next week after I've built up some stamina, maybe I'll add it and do 10 minutes. That is much more sustainable than saying, well, I'm not going to do it unless I have the, ability and the time and whatever to do the whole 30 minutes. So for me, being conscious of time, oh no, I don't have time to go to my workout class. Okay, do you have 5 minutes to do a walk? Like, having an alternative is much more effective in maintaining a healthy lifestyle than saying, well, unless I can do an hour, then I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah, part of that is a mental attitude, and maybe should be discussed under the mental effort section of this. But all movement helps, and really remembering that if you have 30 seconds, if you are microwaving something for 30 seconds for a minute, instead of just standing there like staring at the microwave or pulling your phone out and scrolling, you can like do a squat, or you can walk around circles in whatever room the microwave is in. Or like, I do it at work, and I sometimes worry people think that I'm, look at me crazily, but I seriously, like, I'll take a walk for the minute or two or whatever that I have something in the microwave at work.
Yeah, I do lunges sometimes. I do push-ups off of the counter. You can do calf raises. Any little bit of movement helps, because there's something called NEAT, huh?
Yes, it is.
NEAT, huh?
Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And I'm not going to get into the whole thing right now, but people tend to think that, they think of real exercise as like, I'm at a gym, I'm lifting weights, I'm on a machine. But really, we burn far more calories just going about our day. And NEAT is all of the calories that you burn that's not from direct exercise. And so really asking yourself, like, you've got all of this time throughout the day when you can burn extra calories, and really start asking yourself, how can I make whatever I'm doing right now a bigger calorie burn? The smallest movements, if you can add them to whatever you're doing, really add up over the course of a day, a week, a month, a lifetime.
Well, and I do that too. Speaking of convenience, I conveniently have Jimmy Dean low calorie breakfast sandwiches, 270 calories, jimmydean.com. But I know that
I don't know if that's a thing, but sure.
The microwave duration is 3 minutes and 25 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, you probably do it at 3 minutes and 24 seconds.
I do.
That's like your thing.
I can't do normal numbers. I just can't do it. Odd numbers are the best. I'm just letting you know. But I set the timer, or the microwave situation.
Yeah.
And I've got 3 minutes to like power through getting something done. So for me, that's how much can I get done tidying up in 3 minutes while the microwave is going?
Yeah, beat the timer kind of a thing.
Yeah, and that like, okay, well, I can pick up the glasses, I can load the dishwasher, I can go and, put a couple of things in the trash, I can, dust whatever. And having those small interstitial times.
Yeah.
Those in between times where you're waiting for things is a really great way to get in extra steps.
You sound so erudite when you say things like that.
Well, anyway, okay, I'm not going to digress.
So another thing to think about is combining movement with other things that you enjoy doing, or with things that you have to do. Like, how could you get movement in while watching TV, or even, reading? And I'm putting that in air quotes a bit. Like you want to read a book, but you also want to get in movement. How about
reading?
How about you exercise? Ear reading. How about you get exercise while you listen to an audiobook? Or you're stuck on a meeting, like, maybe it's a Zoom, maybe you could turn your camera off and just like march in place. Or if you work from home, maybe you can get on your rebounder or your walking pad or your treadmill or something. Or maybe you're on a work phone call or something. Maybe you like put a policy in place that, like, anytime I get a work phone call, I get up from my desk and I walk around while I'm talking to the person instead of just sitting there. Things like that. Really think about like how you can add movement throughout the regular course of your day when you feel like you don't have time to get it in.
Exactly. So when you find yourself, and this is kind of the punctuation mark on it, when you notice you're telling yourself, I don't have time for this, or this is too long, ask yourself, how much could I do? What time do I have to sneak in at least a little bit? How could I modify this time to make it work for my schedule? Because that is much more effective in growth mindset. And that's what a fit person does. A fit person figures out how to fit it in with the time that they have. And when you're ready for more, add more. So don't tell yourself that you don't have time. Ask yourself, what can I make time for in the time that I have?
Yeah, and just some. I know Catherine just put a punctuation mark on it.
It was a comma.
I'm going to make it an ellipsis or something. Just to quickly, some things that I would like to add. If you want to get in some traditional exercise, which obviously we are all for, think about, how could you do that and save on travel time? Maybe it doesn't have to be the perfect gym or the perfect park. Maybe there's a closer one you can go to. Or think about what exercise you can do without going anywhere. You can still lift weights or do a yoga, or, maybe even spin or something like that at home with YouTube videos. The walking pad and the rebounder that we talked about, like that, we keep in our home. Think about what you can do that's close to you or close to your work, like, and how you can fit those in. Like, I know not everybody has this, but there's an actual gym on, at where I work that I could go to. I don't go to because,
but I think that
but I could, and it's right there. Instead of like, on my lunch hour, I could go to the gym instead of eating lunch if I wanted to.
Right. And we'll talk more about that in the physical effort part of our list. So Donald, why don't you take us down the path to the second chain?
So the next one is money. And, this is a difficult topic to talk about. People get very sensitive when you try and advise people on how to spend their money. But there is a point where you might say to yourself, I can't get fit because I just can't afford a gym membership, or I can't afford a personal trainer or an exercise class, or the only piece of like home fitness equipment that I know will work for me costs $4,000 or $5,000 and I just can't do it. So ask yourself about all of the, we've already just talked about a lot of very free to zero cost ways to get movement in and burn calories. And one of my favorites is just videos on YouTube. There are so many great exercise videos. There's yoga with Adriene. There's Blogilates with Cassie Ho. And we sort of recently found Juice and Toya who do a lot of, weightlifting and body weight exercises for strength training. You might have parks near you that are free that have basketball or pickleball or tennis courts. And really one thing that we do is we go for walks, which is essentially free except for the shoes that we have anyway. So there's lots of things that you can do that don't cost money. And maybe you're stuck thinking about the only real exercise is going to cost me money that I can't have. So I'm just going to do nothing.
Right. And those thinking about those ideals of what we think is the perfect way to exercise isn't factoring in our actual lives. And that's why, I know we used to say that we had emergency meals in the fridge, for those hard times. Now we like to say good luck. Life is full of good luck right now. We don't need a gym. We don't need an expensive exercise bike. We don't need a personal trainer. Conversely, if you have the time and the money to invest, do it, because investing in our health really matters. We make an effort, and Donald mentioned it, the big investment that we make, every day is in our footwear. I cannot tell you how important it is as we age to have footwear that actually helps us, not injure ourselves, let us go for long walks. Those shoes are not inexpensive.
Yeah, it's the one thing that I won't compromise on. I feel like it is super important if I'm trying to get 20,000 steps a day in jank shoes. We used to call them Bobos when I was a kid.
Shoes.
Bobo shoes. My feet are going to pay for it. And in the long run, I'm not going to be able to keep exercising because of the damage I'm doing to myself slowly over time with my low cost shoes. Now, again, maybe you can't afford, good shoes. I understand that. But, for me, that is one thing I won't compromise on is having, good, solid footwear.
Well, also, there are online secondary retailers like Poshmark who sell gently used, previously owned. I can't remember what they call cars now that are previously owned.
Yeah.
Shoes that are super expensive at discounted prices. Our mailman, Tony, I'm giving a shout out to Tony because he actually said he got his Hoka sneakers on Poshmark and paid half price for them, which is
great.
Which is super cool. But also, and I'm gonna take money to task.
I didn't know you could do that.
I am. Okay, so one thing regarding money that we hadn't talked about is the sunk cost fallacy or the sunk cost loophole.
No, people fall into that all the time.
We feel so much regret and shame and guilt for things that we have invested in that have not paid off for us. So whether it is a gym membership that you haven't used that makes you feel guilty, or the Peloton that you bought with all intentions of using it, and then now it's become I was going to say a spice rack, but it's actually a clothing rack is what I meant. When we buy things...
No, I've turned my Peloton into a spice rack.
Into a spice rack.
Yeah.
But when we make big investments and then don't use those investments, it can feel really shameful. I know a couple of people that I have coached have bought fitness equipment that they don't use. And maybe even spouses have said hey, what are you doing with that, exercise bike that you got? And when we start associating purchases with shame, it can it's totally unmotivating. And suddenly it's oh my gosh, there it is. And I'm not doing it. A lot of times one person that I coached recently said that she bought a Peloton and her husband was kind of giving her the side eye about not using it. And when I asked her, so what do you think you need to do on the Peloton? She's well, I've got to do a class. It's 30 minutes. It's 45 minutes. And I said, well, what if you just did 5 minutes on it while you were watching TV and didn't actually follow a video? And it didn't occur to her that she could do that. These are tools that we can use in ways that matter to us, not the ideal way. And if we see fitness as something that is punishment or shameful or, oh gosh, I've spent all this money and I'm not doing anything with it, that's not a great way to feel good about movement. Saying to yourself, you know what, I can get on it for 3 minutes and just, while the microwave is microwave, I'm a jimmydean.com. then you're breaking down that like mental anguish about like, oh gosh, I spent all this money. You can also cancel a membership if it's not paying, dividends for you. Or if you need that extra accountability, pay the extra money for that membership if it's something that's going to keep you motivated.
Yeah, and I think we may talk a little more about that on the next episode as well.
Oh, that is very exciting.
Okay, so we are going to wrap it up right there for this week. As Catherine so wonderfully said at the beginning of this, there was so much content in this episode that we have decided to break it into 2 parts. So we went over the time and money links in the BJ Fogg ability chain this week, and next week we will go over physical effort, mental effort, and routine in terms of troubleshooting your habits to get more movement.
Exactly. And I think, really, if you take anything away from part 1 of this series, is look at your time. How can you use it more effectively? What are you asking too much of yourself? And where can you fit in little pieces of time? Well, tasty, delicious, microwavable moments.
Time nuggets or like popcorn time.
Exactly.
If we want to go there.
Yeah. And how can you rethink money regarding your fitness goals? Let go of those sunk cost fallacies. Think about all of the free resources, the complimentary resources that the internet and your feet and the world have to offer you, and really work on adapting your mindset to suit your health goals. We do not have to be perfect, but we can find ways each and every day to make our fitness goals work for us.
Absolutely. And I think you're perfect just as you are, listener, especially since you've listened to this episode of We Only Look Thin. And if you want to be even more perfect, we have over 300 other episodes that you can check out. We are available on all of the major podcast platforms. The most recent 300 episodes are all out there. And if you want to go back and listen all the way to the first episode, you can find those on YouTube, where you can also leave us cool comments and likes and subscribe to the channel and all that fun stuff that you can do on YouTube. Or you can find all of our episodes on our website at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep, and if you are at weonlylookthin.com, click on that link for Join Our Support Group to find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place is our Facebook-based accountability group for women. We are not a weight loss plan. We've got people doing all kinds of weight loss plans. You've got intermittent fasting, Weight Watchers, calorie tracking, and many more. Just to name a few.
All this and more.
All this and more.
How could they possibly offer you more?
I don't know. Volume. But we are not a weight loss plan, but we are a place for support and accountability and honesty with all of the ups and downs of our weight loss journey ventures. I am super proud of the group, super supportive. How many more times can I say super? We have 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right for you.
It really is super. I mean, that's, the best word for it when you really think about it. You can also find us on our super social media accounts. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at We Only Look Thin, or you could send us a super duper email to weonlylookthin@gmail.com. We enjoy getting episode suggestions. We will do our best to answer your questions if you want to send them there. If you just want to give us a shout out and say hello and, tell us how awesome rad beans we are, you can also do that to weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep, and if you have a couple of extra minutes, can you head over to Apple Podcast, pretty super please, and leave us a rating and a review. Not only does does it let us know that what we're doing matters to you as part of your weight loss journey adventure, but it also helps Apple boost our ratings when people are looking for inspirational podcasts like ours. So it really does make a difference. We so appreciate all of the stars and comments that we have gotten from longtime listeners and new listeners as well. So thank you in advance.
Yeah, there are these things called algorithms that humans don't know what they are, but our robot overlords have created. And the more...
What were the things in Star Wars where they're like, oh, the Metachlorians floating around Anakin Skywalker?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Metachlorians. That's what what is it? The anagrams? No, what are they called?
Anagrams. Oh, algorithms.
Algorithms.
Yeah, the anagrams.
The algorithms.
No, the robot anagrams. I like those too. So please do something to help the robot anagram algorithms and leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Another thing you could do that really helps us out is just tell somebody about the show, whether it's a robot or a human that you happen to be talking to. If you give us a recommendation, a shout out, it really does help the show grow. If you are on the internet, either the light web or the dark web or whatever shade of web you're on, and you give us a shout out on a Discord server, a Reddit group, a Facebook group, there's all kinds of weight loss and fitness groups out there. If you could help us out and give us a shout out, we would be grateful.
We sure would.
So if you are still horrified at the idea of a fitness onesie, either for adults or babies, just remember, keep in mind that Catherine and I are an inspiration. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.